Broadcasting live worldwide.
Ladies and gentlemen, from the studios in the wrestling capital of the South, it's another terrific episode of The BENGEBUSTER Show. Please welcome your host, Tony Binge.
Happy New Year. Welcome back, listeners, to The BENGEBUSTER Show. It has been more than a minute, more than a day. It's been too long since we've had a show, but, life happens and unfortunately, sometimes you got to hit that reset button. And that's pretty much what the BENGEBUSTER Show has done. But before I go any farther, hey, the BENGEBUSTER Show can't be the BENGEBUSTER Show without my co-host. I'm talking about none other than rock and roll man himself, Chris Plano. Chris, welcome back to the BENGEBUSTER Show.
Oh my God, terrific, Tony. Thank you so much for having me. I know it's been a couple of months, maybe even up to 3 months since we recorded our last show, but happy 2022 to everyone. We are off and running. I'm fired up about tonight's show and can't wait to dive right in.
Yeah, man, it's going to be awesome. But unfortunately, like I said at the beginning of the show, we took a little hiatus. It wasn't intentional. It wasn't something that we planned. To be honest, people, because the BENGEBUSTER Show, a lot of times we like to blow smoke and just have fun. But to be honest, man, life happens, and sometimes like I said, you got to hit that reset button, and of course I had to hit mine. Now, but Chris, during these 3 months that we've taken off, I'm always messing in something, trying to get involved in something, and I have got a new hobby, Chris. Thanks to one of our old guests that we had on one of our podcasts. I'm talking about Drake Tungsten. A lot of people may not know this about Drake, but he's an avid collector of wrestling memorabilia, wrestling championship belts. So anyway, he a lot of people don't know this, but a lot of times he will, if he's working on a deal, he'll call me or he'll text me and be like, "Yo, Tone, so this is the deal I'm looking at. What do you think? If you had the money, would you do this?" And so now the tables have turned. Now I'm calling him, going, "Hey, Tommy, I got this little deal on the side." But what got me started in this new I'm getting ahead of myself because I'm so excited, Chris. It's been so long since I've talked. But my new hobby is collecting championship belts. I've always liked the old school type stuff. Everybody knows that, listen to the show or they know me. But I love the way those old championship belts look. The ones nowadays on TV, it almost looks like my 7-year-old kid drew them. I just don't really like the way the new ones look.
Right.
But I get it. I know what they're trying to do. They want their brand out there. They want the brand to be able to see on the belt. But I miss those old school, trophy type belts. And probably one of my favorite belts of all time was the NWA Mid-Atlantic Championship belt. They call it the States belt. It's a nickname for it. But anyway, I saw this guy he had this belt for sale, and I sent the picture to Tommy, and I'm like, "Hey, what do you think about this belt?" And he's like, "Oh, I know that guy." So I was like, "Oh, you do?" He goes, "Yeah." So he ended up getting it for me a little cheaper than what the guy quoted me originally, and that started it for me. I bought that belt, and then I looked up, Chris, and found another guy who had now. A lot of people that may not be collectors or know a lot about championship belts, but if you have a belt that was made by Reggie Parks, you got yourself a nice belt. But not only that, now you definitely got a nice collector's item because unfortunately, back in November, Mr. Parks passed away. But if you own a Reggie Parks championship belt, you own a little bit of you want a little bit of money there, and
yeah, you do.
And I got lucky, Chris. I came across this guy who had a belt for sale, and evidently he didn't know how valuable a Reggie Parks belt was. because I was able to, in the wrestling terms, I was able to hook it. But I got this belt from this guy at a great price, so I couldn't pass up the deal, so I bought it. So that made belt number 3. And then this weekend I'm picking up belt number 4. And then yesterday, I found another person that had a belt for sale on eBay, and I bought it. But Chris, this belt was really cool because, back in 1985, you could go to the stand. Now this is way before the internet, before all any of the other stuff. But you could buy the Pro Wrestling Illustrated magazine, and inside the magazine there was a company called Cattle Baron, and they made like a replica, like a little championship belt. And I wanted that thing so freaking bad when I was a kid, but my parents wouldn't buy it for me because I think it was either $50 or $100, and they refused to. I'm not paying that kind of money for a toy. Are you kidding me? So I never got it. Well, I found somebody had it on eBay and had it at a really good price, so I snagged it up too. So, so now I have that belt. So this weekend, I'm picking up a Smoky Mountain heavyweight title belt. So that will make me belt number 6. So my hobby is already taken off, Chris. But anybody that knows me knows that I'm probably not going to hold on to them very long. I'm going to probably flip them and make a little cash and find me another hobby. But Chris, to sit there and hold the Reggie Parks belt, and later on today I will go on the BengeBuster Show Facebook page because I haven't updated in a while, but I'll update it and post pictures of the belts. But man, to hold that Reggie Parks big gold, and it's the same belt that Ric Flair held for so long. But to hold that belt in my hand and know that Reggie Parks made it, man, the belt is heavy, but it's like holding on to that legacy. You know what I mean?
You're holding on to the history. I mean, it's just so sentimental. I mean, you really get attached to stuff like this, and it's almost like you don't even want to let it go. You say it so easily, Tony, but it's when you come to that moment. Okay, I'm either going to sell this or trade this or a combination of what it might be. And sometimes you don't even want to let it go. It's just like it's just a piece of wrestling lore, at one time or another, and you've got it.
Yeah, and the thing about it is like, I made the mistake of telling my wife about this good deal and what the belt could really be worth. And now she's like, sell it. So today,
she's a dollar sign.
Oh, yeah. So today in the mail, I get the Cattle Baron belt, and I'm letting my son hold it, and she's like, "Tell me you didn't buy another belt." I'm like, "No, I didn't buy another belt." Well, yeah, I bought another belt, but I'm gonna flip it, is what I told her. She's like, "Oh yeah, like you flipped that Reggie Parks belt that you said that you was gonna flip." She's like, "Where's it at? It's still in your studio, right?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's still in my studio." Got a
rock solid memory, huh?
She does, man. But
and you sell that belt, you're buying big steaks, going out big dinners, and all that good stuff.
Oh, brother, she knows when I sell that belt, we're going to L.A. and she's going to take the money and go to Beverly Hills is what she's going to do. I know her thought process.
You're gonna be like Chevy Chase. What's going on here?
Yeah, exactly. But no, I really do think that I probably won't ever sell that belt. As a matter of fact, Chris, I've already been talking to another belt maker, and I'm going to get him to make me a nameplate with my name to put on it. So
there you go.
So we know that belt ain't going anywhere. But it's a cool hobby. So I'm excited about that. What's been going on with you these last couple of months? I know not much has changed. I see, you and I have talked periodically through text and stuff, but I know you're still out there rocking and rolling, hitting the clubs, and having the time of your life.
Yeah, you know how it is, Tony. I've been doing my thing the last couple of months here. I stayed here for the holidays, for Thanksgiving and Christmas and New Year's. Didn't go back up to the Northeast with the COVID, the infection. I'm really glad now with everything going on. This past week I didn't go up to the Northeast for Christmas and New Year's, and I stayed here. Stayed local. Yes, been hitting the local band. The local bands are thriving. You know, the local clubs are thriving. The bands are getting out there. The tribute bands, the theme bands, and all that good stuff. And you know, me still following my Carolina Panthers, even though we're not doing well week to week on NFL football Sundays. And hey, it really just going with the flow. And I'm really taking things week by week. And now we're into 2022, and we're just going to see what's happening here. But getting out and about, but being cautious at the same time because there's a lot going on right now.
Yeah, definitely. So I know, I'm seeing a lot of, stuff online. Numbers are going up. People are getting sick. I know during the Christmas break, my wife was sick, and at first we were kind of concerned that it could be in COVID because she pretty much had, I would say she had a couple of the symptoms that is COVID related, but they only lasted like a day, so I knew at that point it couldn't be COVID. And then of course we went and got her checked out and got a test, and of course the test came back negative, and come to find out she had an upper respiratory infection, but she also has asthma, so that kind of added to the cough and the congestion that she was going through, but sure. she was sick pretty much through the whole Christmas break, but it didn't stop her, man. We had Christmas, and then we packed up the car, and me and her and my son took off down south, even more south than where I'm at now. And I know a lot of our listeners in other country probably hear my voice and go, my gosh, this guy must be eating cornbread when he's talking, but I am a country boy, but my wife watches this show on television, and it's called the Vampire Diaries, and we found out that they film it down in Covington, Georgia, and she was so excited about it. But what's funny, Chris, is she tells me, "Hey, we're going to take this trip, and we're going to go down to Covington, Georgia." And because that's where they filmed him. And before she could say Vampire Diaries, I said, Dukes of Hazzard? Yes, we're going.
Right.
So we've now made 3 trips over these last couple months down to Covington. And so we got some friends down there now that they weren't our friends, but they are now. They run a little Airbnb, and we always stay there, and they always take good care of us. And it's right, 10-minute walk from the main square. So as we go down there, she's marking out for the Vampire Diaries, and I'm marking out for Dukes of Hazzard. I've tracked down the Boar's Nest. I've tracked down the famous jump. So seen all that, and of course it looks now totally different than what it did in 1979 when they filmed Dukes of Hazzard. But been pretty busy doing that. But man, I'm like you. I've just been living life and trying to like I said earlier in the podcast, hit that reset button. I had my last wrestling match. I think that was in October. And that was probably about the same time we had our last podcast. But I just needed some time with my family. I need to take a little break. But man, I'm here we are. We're ready to get back at it. We got the podcast back and running. And this Saturday, I'm stepping back into the ring. The NAWA is having a big show in Lenore, North Carolina, and they're going to have several NWA legends going to be there, like our good friend Handsome Jimmy the Boogie Woogie Man Valiant. He's going to be there. NWA great wrestling referee Tommy Young will be there. So will Mr. Number One George South, and from the famous Mulkey brothers, Randy Mulkey is going to be there. I'm so excited about that. So we have the Mulkey, one of the Mulkeys is going to be there. I'm sorry, I said Randy, but I'm sorry, I just saw my notes. It's actually Bill Mulkey, not Randy, but Bill. So Bill Mulkey is going to be there with George South, and man, it's going to be a great time. I'm excited about this show, Chris.
Man, I know, Tony, and listen, I know through everything you got going on, you're still training every day. Man, big show in Lenore this Saturday night. It is going to be on fire up there. Well, anytime the Boogeyman's in town, it's going to be on fire. And obviously, Tommy Young, I mean, gosh, the stories, if you could ever sit down with that man for an hour or two.
Oh,
and
yeah, I can
imagine.
imagine.
Just talk about the Flair matches or the War Games or whatever. I mean, it just probably bring chills up your spine. And, hey, Mr. Number One, George South, you know, you never know what's going to happen when he's in the building, and what a great guy George is. You know, just from everything he brings to the business and you know, talking to the guys, and he's bringing up the young talent and obviously, you know, in the back room and then even in the front of the house, you know, with him, you know, talking the good word and the good word in the Bible and all that stuff. It's going to be a great night. Lenore's going to be on fire. And who are you stepping in the ring with, Tony? I know you're ready to roll. I know you want to start off 2022 with a win.
Yeah, you're right, Chris. But what we're doing on this show, as a matter of fact, is it's their annual Bunkhouse Stampede, and it's been a while since they've had a iTelevision champion. So what they're doing is they're having this Bunkhouse Stampede, and the winner of the Stampede is going to be crowned the new NAWA iTelevision champion. And our good friend, handsome Jimmy the Boogie Woogie Man Valiant, is going to be there, and he's going to be awarding the winner the championship belt. So hopefully that's going to be me. But I'm also, Chris, going to be involved in a tag team match. The Moonshine Express is running rampant there in NAWA. They have been for some time. But they are the current reigning and defending tag team champions. So they're putting the belts on the line, but in a fatal four-way. So there's going to be two other teams, including my team, that's vying for this championship. But Chris, I'm gonna have to tell you, and I'm gonna let the cat out of the bag here. You buy your ticket and you come down there, but I promise you, when the smoke clears, yours truly and his partner, none other than Wild Man James Brody, are going to be having our hands raised in victory as the champions. Because I'm looking at the people involved, and James Brody and myself have got probably the most years in the business. As a and the cool thing is we've never been a team before, so this is this is all new for me. So I'm excited about it, but I'm really excited about getting back in it and seeing my, a lot of friends and everybody. And of course, I'm bringing my belts to show off to the guys, so I'm excited about that too. So
you might have a couple of buyers on the line,
man. You never know. I may walk down there with the belt and come back and say, "Hey, honey, I got some California money for us," but you never know. But I'm excited about it. But right now, fans, we're going to take a quick break. The NAWA is sponsoring this week's podcast, so let's go right now to their commercial about this weekend's Bunkhouse Stampede. The NAWA presents the Bunkhouse Stampede, Saturday, January the 8th. At the American Legion Hall in Lenore, North Carolina. Bell time 3 p.m. On this great card, you will see for the $5 championship, Jeff Hart defend against Golden Gladiator number 2. And in a 4-way scramble match, Thomas Extreme, Jet Morris, Zay Vega, and Max Carnage. In a lumberjack with strap match, Jaggers takes on Ted. For the NAWA Tag Team title, the Moonshine Express defend in a fatal 4-way against AJ, Frost, and Squeaks. Terrific Tony Benge and Wild Man James Brody and Thunder and Brady. In 6-man tag action, you will see Golden Gladiator number 2 teaming with Craig Classic and Myrick Moore, taking on the legendary team of Bill Mulkey, George South, and Mark Henderson. For the NAWA heavyweight title, the champion Johnny Ryder defends against Big Donnie. And in the main event, the Bunkhouse Stampede, to declare a new NAWA television champion. And the belt will be presented by none other than WWE Hall of Famer, the legendary, handsome Jimmy the Boogie Woogie Man Valiant. That's Saturday, January the 8th, bell time 3 p.m. at the American Legion Hall. 401 Main Street Northwest in Lenore, North Carolina. Tickets are only $10, $5 for 6 to 12, and 5 and under are free. That's Saturday, January the 8th, Lenore, North Carolina, American Legion Hall. NAWA presents the Bunkhouse Stampede. Be there. All right, everyone, welcome back to the Binge Buster Show. Chris, I'm telling you, man, that Bunkhouse Stampede is going to be on fire, man.
Oh, man, Tony, I mean, I'm going to tell you right now, for $10, $5 for kids to get in, you're going to get autographs from the wrestlers, you're going to take pictures, you're going to see Bunkhouse Stampede, Fatal 4-Ways, 6-man tag match, the world titles on the line for the NAWA as well. You're going to see it all. And you know what? I love it? 3 o'clock bell time. Come on out mid-afternoon. Get out of there. You're still home early. You're going to see it all. And I'm going to tell you what, that is the best value for any family to head on out right after the New Year's and the holidays. You'll get more than your money's worth and more going this Saturday. And, Tony, I'm going to tell you right now, boy, if I'm you, got Bunkhouse Stampede. I know you got your eyes on that Fatal 4-Way. But I'm going to tell you what, you've got some experience in some Bunkhouse Stampedes. And I know this isn't your first rodeo there, and I know the Fatal 4-Way with the experience. You could be walking out with some heavy poundage on your waist before the night's over with this Saturday.
I'm telling you, Chris, my goal in life for this weekend is to walk out with the one half the tag titles and the television title. Shades of Arn Anderson, because back in '85 he was the NWA National Heavyweight Champion and NWA World Television Champion. So, it'd be nice to walk out there with both of those belts, and you never know, and who knows, that could definitely happen. All I know is, man, I'm ready for this Saturday, man. It's going to be a great time. And
I know you'd have and I know of all the guys, and I know all of them. I know them all, but you'd have that biggest smile on your face if Boogie's handing you that title in the middle of the ring.
Oh, brother, as big of Boogie Mark as I am, I'm ready. I'm ready for him to hand me the belt.
Boogie might even say, "I might got something for you," and all.
Oh yeah,
all of a sudden
he might.
You're like, whoa,
you're right. He might present me the belt and turn Terry Funk on me.
I mean, he might just, as he's handing it to you, get that little tug back.
Yeah. That's right. That's right.
And I know you and Boogie have had some legendary matches, man, and it's gone. He's gone over. You've gone over. Count out. Did DQ all over the building. But hey, I know you'd have the biggest smile on your face, and would so appreciate getting it from Boogie in that middle of that ring. You would be ear to ear, I would believe.
Oh yeah, man, it's gonna be great. As a matter of fact, I called Boogie a couple weeks ago and to wish him a Merry Christmas, and he told me, he said, "Brother," he says, I know you're gonna be there in NAWA, and he said now you when you get in that ring, man, he's like, "Brother," he's like, "make sure that you remember all the things I taught you, and use them to your best ability, and if you do that, you're going to be successful." But he goes, "But you already know that because you've been doing this for 20-some years," and he's like, but brother, I know you got that. He said, "Put on those Austin Hall boots that I gave you and get there and kick some tails." So that's my goal. So I'm ready for that.
I think what he's telling you is, Tony, bring your A game, bring your A+ game. I think is what he's telling you.
Yeah, and not so many words
for you.
Exactly.
Yeah, and so many words. But listen, hey man, it's going to be a great time. What a great way to kick off 2022. NAWA, they're going to be cooking, and I have a gut feeling they're going to be stuff. There's going to be some drama coming off this card this Saturday that's going to leap further into 2022 and down the road.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be an exciting show, Chris. It's going to be fun. So fans, make sure you bring your family, your friends, your neighbors, even your enemies. Who cares? Bring them all to the building, man. Because it's going to be a good time. And but I'm excited about it. But now, Chris, something else I'm excited about. Right now, man, not just the NAWA's on fire, man. It seems like the AEW is cooking. But man, what is your take on like the as far as the way wrestling's going right now?
Yeah, wrestling right now, it's an interesting time to be in the professional wrestling industry on the national scene. Obviously we've got the COVID-19 still looming, the Omicron variant. I think both WWE and AEW are ready to, what's the word, Tony, pivot at any one time to what they need to do. But hey, there's a wrestling war going on right now between WWE and AEW. AEW is hanging in there. They were just up in Greensboro a couple of weeks ago. Up the road, they're doing their thing on Wednesday night, and they obviously have a following. WWE is doing their thing as well, but there's also a lot of jockeying going around. Who's picking up what talent?
Yeah. Who's
being released, right? Some guys got released today from WWE. There's a lot of things just going on behind the scenes. It's still kind of a revolving door of sorts.
Yeah, it's definitely a revolving door. But Chris, here's something that I've noticed here lately. It seems like when somebody gets released up north, pretty soon they get signed at AEW.
Correct. But
here's the problem. Do you think AEW is going to have too many people signed? Because
right,
the thing about it is, it kind of goes back to WCW. In the 90s, you had your constant people that were on TV every week. I'm talking about like Hogan, Hall, Nash, the NWO,
right,
Flair, the Horseman, Goldberg, Diamond Dallas Page. I mean, those stars were on TV every week. And then they would bring in other people and showcase them a little bit. But to me, if you only have X amount of hours each week, there's no way that you could sign so much talent and be able to stay in business. You know what I mean?
No, and I think what you're referring to here, Tony, is that there's going to be a tipping point at some point in AEW. Where does this thing tip?
Right.
And they might almost already be there, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
They got the Wednesday night show. They're doing the dark promotion. They're doing some other stuff on Fridays as well. I get it. But at the same time, you're right. WWE let some talent go. AEW, it's like it's almost an automatic signage, which I get it. So they're kind of following what WCW did back in the day, and we've talked about this on the program, in 2021, and Cody Rhodes, wants to pay homage to his father and the NWA days in WCW, and I get that, and we respect that, but I still kind of feel, even as I'm watching it tonight, I watched maybe half the show tonight, it still kind of feels like the NWA and WCW a little bit. When I see Tully Blanchard on there, and I see Arn Anderson, and I see Sting, it's like I'm still seeing some of Monday Nitro back in the day.
Right.
I get it to an extent, but yes, they're going to hit a tipping point at some point.
And Chris, you're talking about NWA and WCW. A couple weeks ago, AEW was in Crockett territory, man. They were in the Greensboro Coliseum.
Correct.
And man, Sting put on one heck of a show.
At 62 years old, leaping off the top rope onto the floor,
brother.
Sting is all of 62, 63 years old.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
The other day, I heard Ric Flair say, man, Sting Sting stole the show. He's like, I'm not taking nothing away from the rest of the guys that were in there. He's like, but Sting to be 62 years old and doing what he did in that match, he says that right there shows you why they call him the icon. But at that same moment in time, Rick had to be patting himself on the back because basically he groomed Sting to be what Sting turned out to be. And it was right there in that same building, the Greensboro Coliseum. I was there. That was in March the 27th, 1988. It was right there in the very first Clash of the Champions, and man, it was wide open, and Ric Flair and Sting went 45-minute TV time limit draw, and on that show, Ric Flair made Sting for sure. He put him on the map.
Kind of one, Tony, and I'm not Sting, you're not Sting, Ric Flair, whatever. You walk into the Greensboro Coliseum a couple of weeks ago at Sting, and it's still the same building. It's not like they built a new Greensboro Coliseum.
Right.
It's the same building from 20, 30 years ago. So the memories have to come back because everything looks the same aesthetically, especially, behind the scenes in the locker rooms and stuff.
Right.
So, what the memories could be going through, with those guys and the homage that they paid to the Crockett's that evening as well in Greensboro. And,
yes.
And as well, so they're reflecting on the past. They're doing something that the WWE doesn't do. I get it, and to an extent. So they're doing their thing. The thing is, where is it? I think the biggest thing for AEW is, like, where is this going? Because they are hitting a ceiling on viewership. They are. They're around the 900,000, 1 million, maybe 1,000,001 mark as far as the viewership goes on Wednesday night. So I think the biggest thing is, like, how do you get to this next level? Like, how do you get to the 2 million mark? What is it going to take?
Mm-hmm.
And I think maybe that's what they're trying to figure out, because they've been hovering for a while.
Yeah.
And sometimes they've been a little lower than that too.
Right, but I think
they're influxing this talent in, like, CM Punk and Daniel Bryan to try to, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think if they can come up with some kind of angle, like an NWO,
sure.
But I think their major problem right now is, and I heard Mark Madden say this. He said basically what they have there at AEW, they have 20 pounds of sugar trying to put it in a 10-pound bag, which means they have too much talent and not enough not enough airtime to get all that talent over. So what they're doing is, this week you see these people, next week you see those people. Well,
so they're alternating, but the storylines are, I don't know.
Yeah, the storylines are getting lost in the mix, and in order to build that fan base, because it goes back to, me always being a huge Ric Flair mark, but when WCW Nitro was on, dude, I would watch Nitro, but the minute I saw Ric Flair, I'd flip it back to WWE and wait for Stone Cold. But then you have these diehard people that they want to watch everything. Where me, I'd watch Nitro. All I wanted to know is, what was NWO doing, what's Hogan and Nash and Hall doing, and let me hear Ric Flair get out there and say, "That's all you mean by God, Gene." Hey, I'm done. I'm done for the night. All this other stuff I could care less about. And if they've got fans that are like that, they want to turn it on and see FTR. Well, if FTR is not on next week, then chances are those fans may not watch next week. So that's why I think it's important that they can figure out a way to keep all the talent on TV every week, but they're going to have to they're going to have to get some angle that's going to make people be invested,
Now, and hey, they're in Charlotte this weekend.
Yeah.
They are in Charlotte this Saturday night.
I know. I wanted to come, but unfortunately, I'm booked. I'm going to be in Lenore Saturday night. So,
I'm interested to see how they draw.
Yeah, me
Saturday
too.
night. This is not a normal night, for them.
Right. But
it's Saturday night. They're in Charlotte. I don't know. We'll see. I mean, the Greensboro crowd was a little. Overall. The Greensboro Coliseum was far from sold out.
Right. But they're
lower level was sold, upper level, that's a whole nother story. So
where are they going to be at? Bojangles Arena?
I believe Bojangles, they're going to be somewhere in Charlotte. Yeah, they are in Charlotte this Saturday night.
Yeah, and who knows if I get finished up there in Lenore and I get back in town, I might head on over there.
Yeah.
I might swing by and pick you up, and we go there and do the Bench Buster Show live from AEW. You never know.
Yeah,
but
absolutely, no, absolutely. There. So, but they're in a good spot. They're where they need to be. But listen, they also have a lot of money behind them. Let's be honest. I mean, let's be honest here. They've got a lot of money behind them. They're at Bojangles, right? 7:00. This Saturday night, which I mean, fine. I mean, it's again, they're in town. They're trying to do some other events outside of Wednesday night. I mean, so they're trying to branch out to see where they're at. Overall.
Yeah,
they're actually in. It looks like they're right, and then they're in Raleigh on Wednesday next week at PNC Arena for their Wednesday regular show. So
for
they
Dynamite.
are in the area.
Oh yeah,
so
they're definitely.
is in the area both Saturday and into next Wednesday. So they're going to be around. As far as that goes. And I'm looking at price points now. Tickets start $30. $30. They're ready to roll. You can't
beat that. And I'll tell you something too, fans, because I go to Bojangles Arena a lot for the
There's not
Charlotte.
A bad seat in the house.
There's not a bad seat anywhere in that building. So $30 gets you in the building. $30 gets you a really good seat. So it's a no-brainer.
Same with Raleigh too. $30. $30. So they're at a price point where you can go and watch a night of national wrestling on television, on TV, and for $30, and they're not charging $150, $200, what you know what I'm saying?
$600.
You can get in the building.
Yeah.
So that's where they're at. So they're invading the Carolinas this Saturday, and then a week from tonight on Wednesday. So they're testing the market. They're just trying to see where are they at.
Yeah.
I think overall, outside of Florida, they've gone to some other markets. They went to New York. They did the thing at Ash Stadium in August into September time frame. They really haven't, but they're just trying to see, I think, where their pulse is, on the road.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think they're going to find that the fans in the Carolinas are hungry for pro wrestling. They're hungry for classic pro wrestling. And I think AEW is doing the right thing by bringing in these former Jim Crockett employees, such as Tully Blanchard, Arn Anderson, David Crockett, Sting, those people like that draw. And even FTR, even though FTR was not, Mid-Atlantic wrestlers, Crockett promotion wrestlers, but they are from the Carolinas and they have a huge following. I really think AEW is going to do great if they continue coming to the Carolinas, because they're going to find that there is a lot of, not just a lot of wrestling fans here in the Carolinas, but a lot of great wrestling talent are right here in the Carolinas as well.
Right. No, absolutely. I mean, look at them. They are really, and I'm kind of looking at their schedule here. I glanced quickly at their schedule coming up. I mean, they've got the Carolinas. They're good. They're hitting D.C. the following week, Ohio, Chicago, Nashville. But look, then they got Connecticut. They're in Bridgeport, Connecticut. They're going to do a show on February 23rd, just a few miles from WWE headquarters in Bridgeport. So they're breaking into other grounds. They're in Orlando, Florida for a weekend and into New Orleans for another weekend. So they're trying to break into different markets. Them going to Connecticut is huge.
Oh, yeah.
Huge. I mean, you're in Vince McMahon backyard territory.
Yeah. And it's great for him. You know, I miss the days of the Monday Night War. I miss the days of, oh my God, what's going to happen? This, you know, for me if I'm looking at wrestling as a fan, not as a performer, but as a fan, I'm invested and I'm excited when I don't know what to expect, and I'm like, holy crap, I didn't know he's going to be there tonight. You know what I mean? And it goes back to the days when I was I was still wrestling, but I was a big fan of Nitro and WCW, and I'll never forget, man, the time that I went down to Winston-Salem Lawrence Joel to see a Monday Nitro, and I was surprised to see not only did the Road Warriors make their return, but their opponents was none other than the Steiner brothers. So I was like, and they both made their debut against each other, or not debut, but their return. The Road Warriors made their return of getting back together when they had broke up for so long, and then the Steiner brothers made their return back from the World Wrestling Federation to WCW.
Right.
So I enjoyed that. The art of surprise. Really kept you on your toes and made you want to go buy a ticket because who in the world is going to show up this week? Maybe that's something AEW. But like I said, AEW, they got to do something that's going to really. Yeah, they got to get that angle that's going to pop everybody, and I think they're almost there.
Right. No, and they are. And the biggest thing is, they have to come up with the angle that's going to pop to where the people don't say, well, we've kind of seen this before already on television somewhere else.
Yeah.
If they try to do an NWO kind of invasion, well, we've seen this, So it's got to be a variation of something that people maybe haven't seen, especially the old timers. Not maybe so much the new fans they're drawing, but it's the old regime. Okay. So it's not looking like we're copycatting someone else. But when I look at, and I have a smile on my face, hey, I give them props. You're going to go to Bridgeport, Connecticut, February 23rd. You're, 20, 30 miles from the WWE headquarters? They're going to pull out all stops. I mean, that's their night to pull out all. You don't think Vince McMahon's going to have a couple of plants in the stands watching? You better believe
he will be. Yeah.
I mean, so, they're going to have Sting there and CM Punk and Daniel Bryan and, they're going to have them all there. And, that's going to be, and don't think the announcers aren't going to be hyping it up that they're not going to come out and say we're in WWE territory, but you're a stone's throw away from their headquarters right down I-95. Mm-hmm. So let's not call a spade here. I mean, and it reminds me of when the NWA came to New Haven, Connecticut back in 88 when they came and Flair and Steamboat were up top and they wrestled for an hour and, the whole regime. This is kind of that a little bit, 30 some odd years later.
Yeah, for sure. I'm just excited to see how it all pans out. I'm definitely invested.
There's
in
a
that.
lot of, as Tony, as we say, there's a lot for the fans to be excited about. Whether you're watching WWE, you're watching AEW. We didn't touch upon TNA Wrestling. They're out there too, obviously doing their thing weekly. But there's a lot to be excited about. There's competition, and everyone's trying to do the best they could be. And hey, guess what? the indie scene's on fire too. So
yeah,
there's stuff for everyone out there.
All walks of life. You just get out there and buy your ticket and go enjoy yourself.
Hey, you go to NAWA this Saturday night, spend $10 to get in, and you're going to get. If you walk out of there saying you didn't get your $10 worth, then you were better off just staying home.
Yeah,
but so there's really something for everyone out there, and people have choices these days, and people are making choices more than ever of where they want to spend their money, even more than ever. So I think it's a great time for wrestling. It's an interesting time for wrestling across the board, and it's going to just keep evolving as we move forward.
Yeah, I agree. It's definitely going to be great, and like you said, NAWA is going to be great this weekend. And it's not just NAWA, guys. Go on Facebook and look at some of the independent shows that are in your area, and go out and support them, because the independent guys, that right there is the future of your fandom, of the guys that are working on independents now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years from now are going to be the major stars on, the other programs. So, this is your chance to go out and say, hey, I knew them before, and plus, support your independent wrestling, because that is a stepping stone to get us to where, the big time, as they say. So, for sure. Well, Chris, it's been a great podcast. Finally getting the catch back up, getting it back up and running. And next week, fans, we're going to get back to our normal podcast. We may have a guest, or we might be talking about a classic show. And of course, next week, Chris and I are going to be bringing back the classic flashback edition, and we'll be talking about a favorite album or something to do with rock and roll. Chris, you have anything before we need to go off the air tonight?
Man, Tony, just one last thing. I want to thank all the fans for listening to the show this week. I know we took a little pause on things, but we're back cranked up for 2022 and moving forward. Hey, everyone, stay safe, stay healthy, stay strong. And Tony, listen, good luck this weekend. You got a couple big matches in Lenore, North Carolina. I'm rooting for you, and we're going to hear some great results next week.
Yes, sir. Next week we're going to be there, and who knows, maybe I'll get one of the stars that are going to be there. Maybe get them signed in for the podcast next week. So, fans, you just have to tune in for that. Well, for Chris, I am Tony. Thank you for tuning in to the Binge Buster Show. We will definitely see you here next week here on the Binge Buster Show.
Thank you for listening to the Binge Buster Show. Make sure you like us on Facebook and download us on your favorite podcast platform.